Hot 97, Ebro in the morning, Laura Styles and Rosenberg, our special guest today. You guys give it up for Julia Beverly. I knew as the founder of Ozone Magazine, the editor, founder. What other titles did you have there?
Oh, pretty much everything. The photographer,
you
designer,
did it all.
writer, yeah.
You did it all. And for many years. And, you know, you are a powerhouse in bringing Southern rap to kind of like the mainstream, like at a time when nobody was really covering it in detail.
Yeah, I think that we were definitely one of the first to expose a lot of artists from the South, and I don't know that I can fully claim credit for that because they were already
they were doing their thing
already. But we were just
but the magazine traveled beyond.
Yeah, we came along at the perfect time,
right?
And so I would come up to New York, and I know a lot of A&Rs used to call me and say, "Who's next?" Because they started looking to us to see who was already buzzing in the South to see who they were going to sign. So yeah, we definitely a lot of artists tell me like. I know like Pitbull and Jeezy and some of those guys tell me I was the first person to ever really interview them and actually expose them outside of just the area where they were.
People forget that Pitbull was really doing rap before he started doing his pop rap.
Yeah.
He had his cornrows.
Yeah, he changed his whole style up and took it international. So
well, I think he kind of just grew. Like, you know, at a certain point he kind of grew and then was like, you know what? You know where this money's at? Yeah, reggaeton.
Yeah, it did grow. It did grow. Yeah, it did grow.
Yeah, but he doesn't do reggaeton music. It's not reggaeton.
No, but he jumped on some records early. Like he did some Spanish records and he did some.
Yeah, he used to be straight hip hop with the throwback jerseys and the whole nine.
So now you have a piece of literature that I think is going to be very important to UGK fans and to Southern hip hop.
Yeah, I think just the hip hop. Period. I think it was needed. There's not very many good hip hop books, in my opinion. I don't think that people are really doing the research required to really tell the real story. They're kind of like rehashing a lot of stories we've already heard. So the book is called Sweet Jones, Pimp C's Trill Life Story. If you're a Pimp C fan, if you're a UGK fan, or even if you're just a hip hop fan, period, I think it's something that's a very important book for you to read. I did the research, put the work in,
and you even detail the research in the book. I thumbed through it. It's a piece of literature. Like you have to really, you did all the research, you share your research in there, you share the articles in there. Can you talk to us about the process? Like how did you get on this path to doing this piece of work, your relationship with the family, and just walk us through it?
Initially, when I had the idea, I talked to his mom, I talked to his wife, I talked to Bun, and kind of asked, you know, do you think this is a good idea? Everybody was on board. So I started out with his mom. And his mom was actually his manager, UGK's manager for like 15 years. So she was like very involved from day one.
So you already knew her from years?
She knew of, it was kind of funny because as we started talking, I learned that she had heard a lot about me from Pimp. And so based on what he told her about me, she was already like, you know, wanting to do the project with me. So she was really I couldn't have done the book without her. I mean, just from A to Z, like she remembered everything. She had all the information, not only from the rap side, but obviously she could give a lot of insight into who he was as a person and kind of how he created these characters, this rap persona. So she gave me a lot of insight into him just as a person. And so starting with her and Bun, I kind of took those interviews and then reached out to a lot of other people. We did about 250 interviews in total.
Who are some of the people that you interviewed for this book?
A lot of artists that he collaborated with, you know, Snoop Dogg, Scarface, the Ghetto Boys, Slim Thug, Paul Wall, a lot of Texas artists, Too Short. A lot of people that Pimp collaborated with, and then also I got a lot of great information from more behind the scenes people, you know, even, you know, bodyguards, assistants, like people that you might not normally interview that are with him, you know, 24/7. So they had a lot of insight to add as well. So in total, it ended up being about 250 people, did a lot of other research as far as, you know, other court cases and paperwork and other interviews, and it ended up being like 2,000 sources. It's something insane. It was a lot of information.
A lot of people are going to be confused by the words that you're saying because you're talking about actual things called, and we should probably put up a definition on the screen, research, writing, not blogging. Because these days when people use the word hip-hop, journalism, they are referring to copying and pasting from an email that the label
got
sends
from
out of a
TMZ,
song,
yes.
and then posting a picture next to it and embedding the song.
Stop. I know what you're doing. Stop it.
This is an actual book with like research, and you tell a story. So I guess
And photos and articles. It's
old school. Yeah.
Yes.
It's old school research.
And no, and you're being
oh, it's true school. Let's how about
it's
do
true
that.
school
This
right
is the
here.
way it's supposed to be done.
Julia, but not everybody was happy about the book. I read that his wife wasn't so happy about it.
Yeah, so this was almost a 5-year process. So initially, she had told me to go ahead with it. As I got further into it, I learned like his mom and his wife just did not ever get along.
And you're now team mom. That's what happened.
Yeah, that's what happened. So I kind of was forced to go one way or the other. And as I said, like his mom had all the information. I mean, I couldn't have done it without her. So if other people chose not to be involved, I'm fine with that. So.
Man, that would be hard to think about. Charlie, in your life story, if you had to choose, like who told my life story between my wife and my mom?
That's some real life shit though.
Yeah.
Some real life shit. Like
I'd
where,
really want them to collab to get the whole thing right. It's a shame
you
that
would
it goes.
want
you
want
would
that.
really want that, but it's a shame when it happens that way. So now, did you already know that she wasn't going to support it, or was it like here it comes, and now here she comes with the word? Which one was it? Was it?
She kind of just stopped communicating throughout the process of writing the book. So, it's complicated. I mean, after he passed, obviously there's always disputes over money and things like that. So, Pimp had 3 children. So he only had 1 child with his wife. So the other 2 children are not being properly taken care of in terms of getting what they're supposed to get from the estate. So that was part of his mom's motivation for wanting to do the book. In addition to getting the true story out, she also wanted to make sure that there was a way to generate some revenue for his other children as well. So
Got it.
Wow.
Julia Beverly's here. The name of the book one more time. Sweet
Jones, Pimp C's Trill Life Story. It's on Amazon, Kindle, iBooks, pimpcbook.com. Yeah, you can check out Instagram, Pimp C Book, Twitter, Pimp C Book.
And for the fans who want to participate in this and buy this, right? So make sure you go out and purchase it. Proceeds from this, I'm sure, of going to the family as well, right? To help the kids.
Yeah, we have an arrangement with the 3 kids. Yeah, his mom actually passed right after we did our last interview. So
Wow.
It was kind of it was kind of unexpected, and R.I.P. Mama West. But it gave me the extra. I was already motivated to finish, but it gave me an extra. Now I have to finish. Like there's no question.
And you and Bun communicate as well.
Yeah, I saw Bun a couple days ago. Bun's in a tough position because there are. He doesn't want to offend anybody.
Right.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And Bun's a nice guy. Like he's not the
Bun's
dude
not
who's
gonna-
going to step on anyone.
Right.
Exactly. Bun's always wanting to be on good terms with everybody. But yeah, I saw Bun the other day. He provided a lot of good input in the book as well. And I mean, I tried to do everybody justice. I tried to just tell an accurate story. So it's tough when there are people that don't participate. But I got participation from pretty much 95% of the people that was in his life. And I just tried to be fair to everybody and tell the real story.
To give a little bit of insight to who you are and why they should read the book, how did Julia Beverly, where are you from, and how did you end up doing this magazine, one of the first magazines that really documented Southern hip hop?
Oh man, it's a long story, but I started out as a photographer. I still consider myself basically a photographer. That's what I love doing. I mean, I just go to shows and take pictures just because I like doing it. And so I started out, I had a day job. I had a 9 to 5. I was like 19, hated it. Like, I'm not going to come sit in this cubicle every day. That's crazy. So I started taking pictures at shows, started working with a local magazine in Orlando, Florida at the time. And I started Ozone in 2002. And what happened was we would initially it was intended to help me get a job somewhere. Like I was trying to show my photography off, and we would go city to city and just give out these magazines, and we would start to get calls from all over the South, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas. Hey, we need this book out here. So it grew from being just initially Orlando is very like a lot of Caribbean, a lot of Latinos. So initially it was a lot of wide variety of music that we covered in Orlando. But as we started spreading out, that's when you had the Jeezys and the Rick Rosses and the Pitbulls and all these guys were just
Working
blowing
the street,
up.
yeah.
And so I would go to these clubs and you would see like a packed club of people. Like I remember seeing Plies before he ever got signed, and there's 2,000 people rapping every word to every song, and I'm like, how is nobody covered? Like there's nobody here, like no journalists, no nobody's up on this yet. So that's how we started. That's how I got established, was basically just going to all the shows, meeting everybody. I would take pictures of people, printed out. Like I took a picture of Ludacris when he was first coming out, printed out as 8x10, brought it to the next show, gave it to him. You know, so I would do stuff like that to try to build relationships with people, and obviously it paid off. And so I did Ozone for 8 years, was able to build a brand not only for the magazine, but I think for myself as well, just being a photographer / journalist. Now I have a booking agency, so I do that as well. Been booking Lil Wayne's mixtape tour, a lot of other artists that we work with. So I was able to transition from, you know, I think it's a great example of just go out and do what you love to do, and you can find ways to generate income, or you can find ways to actually make a career of it. So that's what happened with me.
Now, I don't know anything about the magazine world or how it works, but when I was reading about Ozone, I saw some people talking about or accusing you of selling the Ozone covers. Now, is that like a known thing?
I never understood why it was an accusation. Like we sold the cover from day one. Like it was in our
Does that go against like some journalistic or magazine etiquette?
I mean, I personally don't think so, because our situation was a lot different from other, like we weren't on newsstands until I think 2006. So like for about 4 or 5 years, the only way you could get a magazine was like you would have to come to a club we were at or a radio station we were at. Right. Like we would go city to city and just give them boxes.
Or
no, we weren't even selling them.
Got it.
So it was like a marketing tool. So
yeah,
that
so
was
why
our
wouldn't you sell?
Yeah,
it's basically a pamphlet with information.
It's an advertisement.
And it's for advertising.
We were giving it away for a long time, and it wasn't like just anybody could buy it. You know, we had, I mean, all the labels.
Yes.
You know, you pay for a Gangsta Grills. You pay.
Yes.
We don't want to say that you pay for a radio, because we know that there's no payola that happens at radio.
I think there is some. I think there is some. It just depends on what market you're in and what spotlight you're
in those markets we're talking about, there've always been alleged that there's a lot. That's what I've always heard.
Look, Spanish radio's rampant with it. Like their payola exists for real. It just depends on where you are.
Well, to clarify, I mean, to purchase a cover, you had to already be qualified for it. So, I mean, we had all the labels. I mean, Universal, Def Jam, I mean, Atlantic, everybody.
And even today, Billboard magazine oftentimes has a paid for cover that says advertisement at the bottom.
Really?
Yes.
On the actual cover?
On the actual cover. I've seen it.
I never heard. I mean, I didn't hear it being
but it says,
issue with anybody.
It says
later.
advertisement.
Now,
so
right.
I thought about it later. I mean, we could have made it. We could have put advertisement on the cover. I mean, it just never. It was never an issue until like very late in our process.
Well, yeah,
and
as something gets more,
like it was a big deal,
as something gets more popular and people want to feel as if it's genuine, right? And they want to be able to trust you, and they know, oh wait, I want to believe that this artist deserves this, but wait, you could just pay for it? So does this artist really deserve it?
I guess I can see where people are coming from. But
well, it's just like right now we're dealing with the whole Drake writing the song, and did he write the song? And people are like, well, I love the song, so I don't care who wrote the effing song. And then other people are like, well, you're not really one of the greatest rappers if you don't write your own bars. Us that have been in music know that there's a lot of people who have had help writing bars, bought songs from people throughout history of rap. Like it's always been a thing. But when you're as big as Drake, you're a target now, and so people could come after you. Right. So I think it kind of plays.
For the Ozone magazine, though, you must have also even been like, without disrespecting your own magazine, being like, guys, like, chill out. You're not. This isn't the cover of Newsweek, and you're not saying that this is the be-all, end-all. It's a cover of the magazine.
I mean, I just never, like I said, it was never an issue until like very late in our career, I guess, as a magazine. And
how late did you run, by the way? What year did it all wrap up?
We wrapped up in 2010.
Okay.
So we went 8 years monthly for 8 years. So we had a great run.
And how long did you have the awards for?
We did 3 years of the awards.
How was that experience? From afar, it sounded repug.
Extremely stressful. It was great, but for me personally, I learned that I don't like organizing events. It's just too much going on. So
you must have seen some shit at the Ozone Awards from a planning standpoint. It must have been
I don't
special.
remember anything. Like that's how crazy it was. I mean, going into the award show every year, like I would have been up for 4 days.
If you see Julia's
like
face at any awards, Ozone Awards,
if you met me at the Ozone Awards, I don't remember anything. Like it's
Julia would look at you with
the
blankest stare. I didn't know if she remembered me for years and years and years.
I never knew that. I'm learning.
She would just look at you and go. She'd be like, hi, Julie. Hi.
It was just I was doing the job of probably 25 different people. You know, we should have it got a lot bigger than what we expected. I mean, the first year was amazing. We ended up having like everybody who was somebody in Southern rap came, and it just the fact that we pulled it off. I mean, there were so many obstacles and things we Like we booked out this whole hotel 2 days before the awards. They bring a bulldozer in the lobby and like bulldoze the entire lobby. Like they were getting ready to sell to somebody. Nobody told us, and it was just all like it was just crazy stuff that happened. And,
no wonder they let you do the Ozone
Yeah, what a
Awards.
good deal. They're like, oh yeah, sure, do whatever bullshit hip hop awards you want to do.
Right, exactly.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, the last year was in Houston, and Houston was crazy. I mean, but it's unfortunate. Like you can't do an event on that scale without having some type of, you're always worried that somebody's gonna get shot or killed.
I would love
it's just so much craziness.
I would love a documentary just about the Ozone Awards. Let me just be clear.
She has the footage.
Yeah, you must have.
We have some
tons
footage.
of footage.
Yeah, we have some footage.
Yeah.
What is do you have plans for some sort of documentary for this book to go in line with it? Are there plans for, even as he brought up, the Ozone Award? Like, are there any plans for that stuff?
I mean, there's been a lot of questions about turning the book into a movie, because a lot of people have said it's written like a movie, and I would be open to it, but I would want it to be done right. I've seen the Aaliyah biopic. I would not want it to be like the Aaliyah biopic. I just saw the NWA movie, which was excellent. So
excellent. Giving it 2 thumbs up. 2
thumbs up, yes. Okay. I enjoyed it. So if it could be done right, because I think a lot of it is casting too, if you get the right people. Because I don't know who could play Pimp C. Like I don't.
That's a pretty
really know
unique.
who,
Well, that's even some of the people in NWA. Obviously, Ice Cube's son looks damn near just like
he did
him.
A great job.
But and the Eazy-E guy looks like Eazy in some ways, but the other characters don't look like those individuals. But I'm told that they're great actors.
Yeah, it's not necessarily just the look, but just the
feel,
mannerisms,
behavior,
and the feel of it. Yeah, if they can portray that character. So
you brought up rap personas earlier, and I know in this day and age, everybody is under the assumption that everything's real.
No.
Okay, but I come from a time where there were things that were real personas, people who were really about that life. And most of them didn't rap or want to be artists, right? The artists were the ones kind of telling the story of what actually was taking place. Somewhere along the lines that got gray. And you spoke of Pimp C's rap personas as if he had multiple versions. But you knew Pimp C personally. You knew his mom. To some degree, Pimp C was really who we knew. But then there were other things that he put on for show, correct?
Yeah, well, that was one of the most interesting parts of the book, as far as talking to his mom about his, he was actually diagnosed bipolar, and he thought he was schizophrenic as well. So he had mental health issues, and just talking to his mom about that, and how that, the way she described it, she said it was his best friend and his worst enemy, because it was what enabled him to be this creative genius,
right.
But at the same time it was like something that kind of tormented him throughout his life. So the way she described it was that he actually was all these different people, and it would just switch. Like he could just be, Chad, or he could be Pimp C, or he had these Sweet Jones or Sweet James Jones, or he had like 8 different distinct characters. And you see it even like he would write letters from prison that were like, they were all signed with a different name, or like when he checked in hotels, he would check in under a different name, or he would call her and like introduce himself as a different name. So to me, that was very interesting, just to look at like him as a person, and how, the fact that he was so complicated was also what made him a great artist.
So in your experience with rappers, in their personas, like I know a lot of creative types, they are that way, right? They have these personalities that they put on and they entertain with them, right? Have you seen this before, like what you saw with Pimp C?
Oh yeah, definitely. Maybe not to that extent, but yeah, a lot of artists are like that, and that's part of what makes them.
That's the creative part.
Great, yeah. I mean, that's how his mom described it. She said that, and she felt it also played a part with his he had drug issues as well, and she said she felt like it was the same thing that made him want to experiment with these things, was the same thing that made him want to sit in the studio for hours at a time, tweaking the same record. Like he had like an addictive personality. And she said that was another thing that contributed to him being a great musician. So a lot of these things, she felt like you can't separate one from the other. So I like talking to people that are complicated like that. And when I met Pimp, he was actually in prison. So he was very, like, super mellow, like just nothing what I expected. And a lot of the other people I talked to said the same thing. Like Sway had went and interviewed him, and he was just like blown away by how like just calm and introspective he was. And you're kind of expecting him to be this rap character, but in real life, he was really a very calm kind of. He would think before he spoke and things like that. But then he would switch into that rap persona, which a lot of people heard him like talking crazy in radio interviews and stuff like that. So he definitely had both sides to him. And his son is here too. I don't know. Maybe his son has some insight.
I knew he was here. I didn't know if that was something we were supposed to point out or nah.
Yeah.
Well, apparently,
Shout out to Corey.
go with it,
Young-
Ebro.
Lil
young
C,
Pimp.
Lil C, come on in, man. It's up to you, bro. If you want to talk about your dad, talk about the book. This is Lil C. How are you, young sir?
I'm good. I'm good.
Have you read the book?
I'm reading it.
It's a lot, right?
Yes.
How old are you?
I'm 15.
And reading the book, obviously, and losing your own father is kind of hard for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, some parts I said, you know, I put it down, pick it back up.
Yeah,
I'm getting through it, so.
yeah. Quiet young gentleman, like his dad, I guess, right? So, what are you going everywhere that Julia's going, or you just happen to be in New York City?
For the most part,
For the most part, you're just in New York City, or you're going everywhere?
I'm going everywhere.
Going everywhere. Got it. So you're a part of. Are you? Do you write yourself?
Yes, I actually just put out an album not too long ago.
What's it called?
Lowercase G's. And I'm in a group with another person. We call ourselves the UG Kids.
The UG Kids. I respect it.
And do you live in the Houston area?
I live in Houston.
In Houston, okay. And how much? I guess, I mean, it's already. What year did your dad pass? Was it 08?
07.
07. So, how much? Do you have a lot of memories of your dad?
Kinda, but then again, I was so young, so I remember some stuff, and then some stuff it'd be like.
I mean, it's all pre 7 years old, so
Yeah.
so it's not that there's not that much
A little
time.
fuzzy.
So does it feel? So I know parts must be sad, but are there also parts where it really feels good to get to learn this stuff about your dad?
Yes, because, you know, like some of the questions, I'd be like, well, I'm supposed to know. So I'm learning a lot.
So you're getting a lot of answers from this
Yes.
book.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. You look like your dad. You get that?
That's why I'm sitting here like, wow.
Yeah, you really do.
Yo, man, nice to meet you, bro. Nice to meet you, man.
Pleasure,
Feel free to come back anytime. And now everybody's gonna go listen to your music. So
Yeah, so tell them the name of the project so people go find it.
It's called Lowercase G's, and you can follow me on Instagram at Pimp Chad Jr. for a copy or books, anything. But, yeah.
keep working hard, man. This lady right here is pretty smart too. So
Yeah,
she's good to know. She's
listen
good
to her.
She
Yeah,
can help you out.
exactly.
She can help you out. Julia, anything we didn't touch on that you want to make sure we communicate about the book, about you, about things coming up?
I think we covered it. But definitely you can pick the book up on Amazon. That's the easiest way to get it. We're working on it'll be in some other retail outlets as well. We'll be doing a book signing tour. Dates will be announced on the Pimp C book.
So you're like a
Instagram
star
page.
now. You're like a celeb now.
I've always been like a
I mean, you've been a
Twitter
face in the,
celebrity,
yeah, you've
like
been a
a
face in the
mini,
crowd,
you know.
and then you communicate through the name, but we don't necessarily get to see you all the time.
Yeah, I mean, somebody came up to me. Somebody cried at the in-store the other day.
Because they love the book that much, or because of just you and everything?
And I was like, really? You're happy to meet me? Like, I don't know. I've just always been super low key. It's kind of funny to me.
I don't want to distract people from this story, Sweet Jones, Pimp C's true life story. That's what the focus is. But I think at some point there is probably a lot more from just you in general that would be really interesting.
Oh yeah,
and
I
I'd
could
be
come
curious
back
to hear
anytime,
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come back whenever. I'd love to. I definitely want to, like as Rosenberg put, I want to focus on the book because I didn't want to deter off into your
Yeah, no, you
personal
can
life or your
do
other works or crazy stories about death threats and murder threats and
just the general hate I'm sure you got. That must
get
have
for being
been
a white woman and et
It's
cetera, et
not that
cetera.
bad. Maybe I just don't notice it. I don't pay attention too much. But yeah, I can come back anytime.
Yeah, there's more. I'm sure there's more to hear.
All right, we'll do it. Julia Beverly, Pimp C, Sweet Jones,
guys,
Pimp
for
C,
having
The
me.
True Life Story. Go pick it up.